What's up, everybody? Ty Bartell with another edition of Player Profile. This time we're joined with the point guard over at Canfield High School, Drew Shapiro, joining me today. How we doing, Drew?
I'm good. How are you?
Not doing too bad myself, my man, and you aren't doing too bad over there with Canfield as well. As this season I know is going to be an exciting one, and it's been an exciting one over there with Canfield. Talk to me just about what's come with this season too, your excitement that's come with it, and just playing with this team this year, a one-loss Canfield team.
Yeah, just a great start to the season so far, and we're already halfway through. The season's flying. But just having fun with the guys, we like to win, but also just having fun, and we worked really hard. So just to see us in the win column a lot is just a good feeling, and it just shows what hard work can really do for a team.
I mentioned point guard, and you are one of the better ones in the entire area. I say top five in the entire network right now as well. Talk to me though about just playing the position as well. You take your scoring seriously, but you also take dealing it to your guys serious as well too. How is that the skill coming with point guard developed within you too, and how serious have you taken passing, developing yourself in the sport of basketball?
Yeah, I'm just a really competitive kid, and I've always been that way. So, just finding any way to win, and it's always fun to score, but just making the right play, and sometimes that is passing and not worrying about myself. Just making the right play to win the game, and a lot of the time I feel like just like my vision and making the right passes is winning our team's games, and that's like what I try to do with that.
When did you first start noticing yourself becoming a really good passer and a kind of a true passing point guard? And when did you start kind of taking that role, I guess, more serious and really putting a lot of your time into it?
Yeah, I've always been a shorter guy, so even just like a really young age, I've always been like known as more like a point guard of any team I've been on. And with that comes passing, of course. And just over the years playing the point guard, you just learn so much. And just like seeing things, I've just learned a lot.
When we talk about the sport of basketball, though, in general, I want to know when the first chapter kind of started for you. When are the some of the earliest memories you have in the sport? When do you first remember having a ball in your hands?
Um, I'd say maybe like first, second grade, just like playing at the YMCA, not for Canfield or anything, but just playing there. And then third grade was like my first time ever playing for Canfield. And that's really when I started to love the sport. And from there, I just went.
Kind of take started taking it more serious then from that point on.
Yeah.
What kind of years did you see, I feel like, the biggest growth then in your in developing in the sport of basketball? When did you start really feel like you started understanding the sport on kind of a different level?
I'd say like the start of high school, maybe like going into my sophomore year because, being short, like it's never really like easy playing basketball. It's one of the harder sports to play if you're just like not gifted with size. But, going into high school, just like really understanding like I needed to be good at something. If I didn't have like the physical attributes that a lot of great players have. And yeah, I'd say like sophomore year is when I really started to really pick up a lot of things.
I love the sport because it's one of those cases where you don't have to be great at everything. If you can find something you're good at, role wise too, you can be really great at the sport too, exemplifying your role. And you found your role with this team too. And it feels like a lot of guys have found their role with this team with how successful it was. It was a successful team though last year. How much do you feel like your experience with last year's team kind of helped you take that step with this year's team and more in scoring and more in passing too, and being more of an overall leader on the floor?
Yeah, I think last year was huge for us because experience is really important to any basketball team, and just for all of us guys who are returning this year, it just gave us a ton of games under our belt. And, we did lose a few guys who could score. So just for me being in a role now that I am scoring more, but I feel like I've always been able to do that, just stepping into the right spot. And the experience in the past has definitely helped me with that.
What was it like for you to kind of step in more of, I guess, a leadership role on the team this year, as more of a voice that they're going to be looking to, and more of a voice that you're going to hear in huddles and on the floor?
Yeah. I feel like I've always been a pretty vocal guy, and I'm not afraid to, tell people where to be or anything like that. So, being a senior now and having all the guys really like, for the most part, looking up to me, definitely has been like a pretty cool experience. Just being like not the full leader, but one of the leaders of the team. It's a pretty cool thing.
Did you ever kind of feel this day was going to come to, or are you shocked that that senior year is here? You're in the midst of senior year, halfway through the basketball season.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I feel like I remember all my years of playing basketball so much, and just like really being a senior now just doesn't feel real and everything, and it's all going by so fast. But you just kind of have to have fun while it lasts. So I'm trying to do my best to do that.
When we talk about this particular team too, I mean, you guys have had some really thrilling victories along the course of this season. We talk about this season and we talk about your entire basketball career. What are some of the games that have stood out to you as some of the most memorable that you've played in?
Yeah. Well, last year and the year before, of course, like district finals, and last year especially the regional games. There's some that I'll really never forget. Both Ursuline games last year were pretty crazy. And this year for me, the New Albany game definitely stands out to me because I mean that's like that was my career high in points ever, so that was a pretty cool game for me, even though we lost that one. And then the East Liverpool one as well this year is pretty easy for me to remember because we all had a good game, but I had a pretty cool stat line which I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. So that was also a cool game.
You talk about your stat lines too, but I love the fact that you always make the buckets. It feels like when it counts, you kind of have that ice in the veins mentality too. What gives you that kind of competitive edge when the game gets into the nitty gritty time too? Fourth quarter, clock winding down, game's close.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know what I'm capable of, and I feel like when it comes down to the crunch time, it makes me feel comfortable, when the game's in my hands, and I can go make a play for myself, and just trusting in myself in those moments for sure.
One thing I love about Canfield sports is they always find a way to connect with the youth too. We always see kind of youth teams in and around both boys and girls basketball. Talk to me and some advice you would give to some of the youth basketball players too that kind of see this boys basketball team, see the success you guys are having, and want to be in your shoes one day. What's some advice you would give those younger players too that kind of want to strive to be where you guys are right now?
My bad. You see me now? Am I good? Uh,
Yeah, you're all good.
okay.
We'll pick it up from
Um,
there too. Just some advice you would give for those youth players.
yeah, I would definitely say that nothing is given to us. We've earned everything, and if you want to be on a big stage like us, just work as hard as you can, in the weight room, practice, extra time when maybe other people aren't working. And yeah, everything is earned for sure.
What was the thing? What was those niche things that you kind of started exemplifying in basketball that you started, I guess, exploiting rather in basketball that you found? Okay, I could be good at this. I could exploit this and get this to the max ability.
Yeah, I think to begin, definitely my ball handling was super important. As I like began working on my game, just having a tight handle and just smart decision making, and turnovers are a really important part of the game. So just controlling turnovers, and then from there, I mean, you always want to be a scoring threat. So just working on my jump shot too was important to me. But I would definitely say like ball handling and shooting are two of my most important skills that I've worked on.
I know you guys put in a ton of work too to get to this type of level each and every year to be this successful as a team each and every year. But you're doing this while also simultaneously being a student too, hence the name student athlete. Talk to me about just the challenges that come with being a student athlete too, keeping the grades up while also keeping the play up on the court.
Yeah, I mean, there's sacrifices you have to make being a varsity athlete, but just a balance is important. Practicing, maybe putting in some extra time, but also leaving time for homework and maybe staying up a little late some nights, just a little extra time to get in some extra homework or studying, stuff like that is definitely important for grades. But yeah, just a good balance is important for that.
We talk about the senior year too, and of course, you're experiencing a lot of first last right now too, as we wind down the regular season though. But I'm actually kind of curious, what are some of the future chapters hold in store for Mr. Drew Shapiro? What are some of your plans after high school's over?
Yeah, as of now, I'm not planning on playing basketball. I want to go to Miami, Ohio, and Oxford. To go into business, I'm thinking accounting right now, but I'm not fully committed on anything yet. But I think that's what I want to do as of now.
When you talk about colleges too, I know you talk about Miami of Ohio. What are some of the things you kind of look for in a college that intrigues you, that draws you to them?
Yeah. One thing about Miami, well, to begin, my brother goes there, and I visited him a few times, and I honestly love the campus. I think it's super cool, but I also think Miami has really good connections, and that will definitely help me with a job opportunity in the future.
Is that what the kind of the business decision is? Kind of just keep your I guess options wide and keep your horizon open.
Yeah, and I feel like, yeah, like you were saying, business is a good way to have a lot of different opportunities and just make choices as you go.
When we talk about the sport of basketball too, and sports in general, I feel like in the world of business and the world of life too, and they all have a lot of similarities too. What's kind of the biggest life lessons that the sport of basketball has taught you that you kind of see yourself correlating? Oh, I learned this in basketball, and I apply this in my really everyday life.
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson I've learned from basketball is just like a mindset thing. Like whatever you put your mind on and hard work will always pay off. So just later on in life, just kind of like how I was with basketball, just working hard and putting my mindset to something is it always can get you places for sure.
You've also had the opportunity to be coached by some really great minds in the sport of basketball, both Coach Cullen from last year and Coach Vlahovic from this year too. I mean, these are some great minds in the sport too. What has it been like being under them too, and kind of under their coaching direction and being able to kind of pick their brain a little bit?
Yeah, just two amazing coaches in their own ways, but it just makes it easier as a player, have full trust in them and have them put us in spots where we can win. They really do set us up for success, and they have super smart minds, and it of course does help with us learning too. But yeah, just playing for them, it just makes it easier overall.
How much goes into building the team chemistry that this Canfield team shows that they have too? I mean, it seems like you guys know exactly where each other's going to be on the floor too. You all share the ball. There's no really egos. It's an unselfish team too. How much goes into building that kind of chemistry with the 12, 13 guys that go on the floor each and every night?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing about that for me is definitely just how we treat each other off the court. And although the most important part about basketball is what you do on the court, but the connections we make off the court and the friendships we all have and the trust we have in each other, you can tell that that translate into the games.
When we look at this season too, I mean, we're winding down the regular season up until playoff time too. Your experience with Canfield, you shouted out some coaches. I want to give you the chance though to shout out some teachers too, other big names in the Canfield School District that you want to give some love to that have helped you out along the way.
Yeah, I mean, all my teachers, of course. I can't name all of them, but a few that have stood out to me, definitely Mr. Ruark. Just seeing him in the stands, he definitely comes and supports a ton of games, and just a super cool guy overall. Mrs. Gennaro as well. I've had her since my freshman year. I've had her for a ton of classes, and just seeing her every day through school along the way, she's been supportive as well. And she has a kid in the program. Well, both of them have kids in the program, so just seeing them supporting is a really cool thing.
One final thing I want to do, and I love to do this with all of our athletes too. I want to give you the spotlight to shine on anybody else you'd like to at this point to shout out friends, shout out family, shout out anybody else that has been an impact to you or had an impact on you along the way in your journey.
Yeah, of course, my parents just supporting me along the way, driving me everywhere, setting up training for me. Both of my brothers are older, stronger than me, and just growing up with them, playing basketball in the driveway, just playing against kids bigger than me, and never wanting to lose has really taught me a lot. And then just my teammates, Jake Delicio, Ben Weaver, Ray McCune, Nick Lavani, Angelo DeLucia, Nick Folsom. They're all seniors with me, and we've all just grown up playing basketball together our whole lives, and it's been such a fun journey, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. And we're all hoping we can make it far, but we'll see where that goes.
Well, we're having a lot of fun with you this season as well, Drew, and we've had it every step of the way too. We look forward to the second half of the year. We look forward to the playoffs too. We look forward to covering you and seeing just how far this Cardinals squad can go. And I have a feeling that you guys have something pretty special in store for us for the second half of the year.
Yeah.
With any luck, we will see the Canfield Cardinals make another run for maybe districts or maybe perhaps further as well. This has been a first edition of Player Profile with the point guard of Canfield, Drew Shapiro.